and thank you for being here inside the Online Qigong Dojo. Today is a really special day. I've decided that I want to lay out my entire three-phase Qigong program starting today. So in my weekly sessions, I'll be sharing just a short introduction of the content that I'll be presenting each week. And that content is going to have a main portion of an exercise from one of the three phases. And then it will also have a component of meditation and also a component of journaling. So to understand the three-phase Qigong just a little more, I had started writing a book about the five elements probably 12 or 13 years ago. And about midway through that book, I realized I needed to provide a precursor to that. So the five elements is really where a large part of my passion lies in regards to Qigong. But in putting that content together, I realized I needed to write a first book with the fundamentals of Qigong and also the fundamentals of managing your energy and the fundamentals of managing your thoughts and your information body. So that's why I started writing the quadrant in three phases. And that book is where I really outline the whole program of three-phase Qigong. And so that's what we're going to go through here. It'll take several weeks, I would imagine, to actually more than several weeks, probably several months to go through all of the content. And we'll start right at the beginning in phase 1, and we'll move through phase 2 and phase 3, and then really see how all of the phases are one and how they circulate back and you incorporate each of the phases into every phase. So just to give you an idea of what the three phases are, they're actually each broken up into three parts. So phase 1 has three components to it, as well as phase 2 and phase 3. And the reason for that is there's a focus in each phase on the body and on physical exercises that we do. And then there are exercises and practices that focus on our energy body, and our emotional energy. And these correspond to with the Dantian, or the main energy centers in your body. So the phase 1, the physical practices, connect with your lower Dantian and your vitality. And the energetic component corresponds with your middle Dantian, your heart, your emotions, and the center for your chi and energy. And then spiritually, that component of it, the mental, spiritual, mind component of it, connects with your upper Dantian. That's where we hold all the information, our spiritual body. And so those three phases, again, each of the three address the body, the energy, emotions, and the spirit or information. So phase 1 is where we start. In phase 1, there's really 2 or 3 objectives in each phase. And really the primary objective in phase 1 is to unite the mind and the body, because that's really where all the magic begins to happen. In exercising, if you're on the treadmill at the gym, you can be watching TV or listening to your headphones or something like that. What makes Qigong really unique is that we bring our attention to all of the exercises that we're performing. And whether we're just focusing on our breath, scanning our body, or doing a physical movement, the mind's always a piece of it. And again, that's where the magic occurs, because where the mind goes is where the energy flows. And that's how we build the energy in our body. So that first objective of phase 1, bringing the mind and the body together. And then the next step in that, in phase 1, the objective is to relax and to release. So when we bring our attention to the body, we want to first release and relax tension physically, but then also in the energetic and emotional pieces of phase 1, we want to release our negative emotion or negative energy. And in the spiritual component of phase 1, we want to release our negative information, or just false information, or just excess information. So that's the objective of phase 1, is really clearing. And so the nature of phase 1, I really identify as a yin energy. My symbol for it is just like an open circle. It's just emptiness. And it's that complete presence, that complete connection of the mind and body, and then utilizing that connection to clear and cleanse. And ultimately what that does, the goal of phase one really is to open up the heart, the middle dantian. And when we open the heart, it's going to bridge the mind and the body. And so there's kind of a caveat with the phase one intention of opening the heart. The real next step of that is to allow us to sink into our body. So in the next phases, we'll need the heart open for our energy to build and travel up into our spirit and really energize our mind. But for phase one, we're really opening the heart for the purpose of letting our attention sink and settle into the body. Because really, the practice begins at the heart level, as I described, but the reason we're doing that is to get into the body. That's really where we build our foundation. But we need to open up that gateway and open up all the blockages in our energy. We need to release all that tension in our body so that our mind can settle. It's just like the sunlight and the water sinking into the soil to nourish all of the growth. Same thing needs to happen in our body. So we need to till the soil and cleanse out all the obstruction so that the nutrients can sink in and build our vitality and our emotional and mental well-being. So those are some of the principles, but then we get into what we're going to do and our exercises. So we'll do some body tapping today. That really, to me, I was really drawn to practice body tapping over the weekend and realizing how important that is. Even just the vibration and the rhythm, your body really responds well to that beat and that flow, and it really helps synchronize the mind and the body and release a lot of stagnant energy. So body tapping is one of the main practices of phase one. And then the other primary exercise are the 8 pieces of the brocade. And the reason for that is that the brocades really address all the main meridian channels in the body. So each exercise pretty much addresses a pair of internal organ meridians. And in that way, just like the tapping moves through all the major meridian channels very systematically, the brocades move through in a similar way, but it's through stretching and breath coordination. So in that way, we're really bringing the mind through the full expanse of the body and uniting the mind and the body. So that's what we're going to learn in this first week. We're going to do the body tapping, the whole body tapping, and go more in depth into that and ways that you can utilize it. And we're going to do, for this week, as you know, in the dojo, we do a challenge every week. So the challenge is really a full practice of the first 2 brocades. So that's what we're going to really focus on this week. And then next week, we may be ready to move on to the next 2 brocades. And then the meditation we'll practice, and I'm kind of outlining what we'll do in each week, the different segments. So the main content this week is the tapping. The challenge is the brocades. So the first 2 pieces of the brocade. And then the meditation is going to be body scanning. So you may, if you've taken a Qigong class, or yoga classes often do this too, you'll move through some of the movement, you'll get the chi flowing, then you lie down and you bring your attention to your body through a scan of the whole body. And you can do that in a lot of different ways. You can focus on the chakras, the meridians, you can focus on your bones and your skeleton structure, your internal organs. There's all different ways you can do a body scan. But that's a wonderful way to relax, because every time you're bringing your attention to those areas, you can let go of any tension you feel. So that's the meditation component of what we'll do this week. And then another thing I'm going to share is a breathing technique. And so each phase has a breathing exercises or a breathing exercise that is connected with it. So for phase one, it's returning to our natural breath, which is not controlling the breath at all. It's just completely releasing, relaxing, and just tuning in and allowing your breath to take its own course in your body. And you'll find that this takes you deeper and deeper as well, because you'll find where your breath is obstructed, and you'll find where your attention wanders, whether it's at the end of your inhale or the end of your exhale or the beginning of one of those or in the middle somewhere. We have a tendency for our mind to start floating away at certain points. So I'll share that breathing technique along with an affirmation that you may have heard to help assist you in that. And then at the end of the class today, I'll just kind of review what we've done and then give kind of a brief preview of what we'll do next week. And so again, this is the beginning here of sharing the full content of the 3-phase Qigong curriculum. And as I'm doing this, I'm going to be adding any material that's not already in my online course for 3-phase Qigong. That's already a very comprehensive program that you can access. And the course is really an ideal, unless you're able to make it every week to every class inside the dojo, the course is an ideal format to where you can go through step 1, step 2, and all of it's organized so you can go back to it in a convenient way. But if I create any supplemental content in this journey we'll go through over the next few months, I'll put that inside the course as well. So I'm going to keep adding to that course as we go, the 3-phase Qigong mastery course. And so that's going to be fun too. I'm really looking forward to just really refining that content. And I'm also going to make it as convenient and accessible inside the dojo as possible. So that's why I'm segmenting all of the portions of the class. So I'll post the main content in the Qigong class circle. I'll put the challenge content in the challenge. I'll put the meditation content in the meditation circle. So that way you can just go to the latest post in the feed and you'll be able to see the latest material and keep moving in that flow. And you'll be able to access what we've done previously in a pretty organized way. So I know you may not be able to raise your physical hand, but if you're ready to start doing some exercise, let's do this. We're going to start with our whole body tapping. So I'm going to change to camera 2.